All right, what is up, sports fans? Welcome back for another episode of The Fan in the End. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rychel, the big man, Mr. Ben Troupe to my right, and our guest for this afternoon, this evening, this morning, wherever you're happen to be catching us from, is fellow content creator, fellow Atlanta fan, Meg. How are we feeling this morning?
Yeah, all good here. It's almost dinner time here for us, so it's like the end of my day almost.
Wow.
That's That's why I wanted to sit there and say wherever you're catching us from. I don't know if any of your fans or listeners are going to be hopping in or not, but just wanted to make sure that we covered all our bases. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of fun stuff's happened over the last week. Um, Kind of want to get right into the stuff that's going on with Jon Gruden now. Everyone knows Jon Gruden's a very well respected guy in the NFL circle. Ben happened to work with him for a period of time when he was down there in Tampa Bay. Um, he was more or less forced out of a situation, and he had filed a suit with the NFL and basically putting it out there that the emails that had gone out was part of a leak. It was kind of something that was done on the NFL side, and he had his day in court. There is going to be no arbitrator doing it. They are going to do an actual trial jury for this. It doesn't happen very often. Typically, these things are done by an arbitrator. Stuff's done behind closed doors. So this is all going to be access for everyone in the public. I definitely got to start off with Ben. That's your former HC man. So I guess we know why he hasn't taken a job over the last few years. And how you feeling about this one, brother?
I was not shocked the fact that he won this first round, and now they get because he want to have his day in court. I don't know if he cares more about winning more than about clearing his name. There was a lot of people involved. Dan Snyder, former owner of the Washington football team, he was involved, but he's long gone. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to call him to testify. But we're talking about hundreds of thousands of emails. We're talking about the former NFLPA president DeMaurice Smith. He was a part of it. When you a guy like the head ball coach, Chucky, the head ball coach, like Jon Gruden, reputation is all he has. Yes, we know what he was as a coach, won the Super Bowl, with Tampa, beat the Raiders. But outside of 2002 and YH2 Banana, ain't a lot to talk about with a Jon Gruden. So for him, he wants to go to court. But here's the thing. I guarantee you, his lawyers are saying, now look, the NFL ain't gonna go away quietly. They're gonna come at you now. I think for Jon Gruden, because I think his next destination will be in college. I hope to God it's not in the SEC. Because somebody's gonna hire him, not in the NFL. He won the first round, but I think these emails, I think it could get real, real messy because Jon Gruden was a scapegoat. They said, look, are we gonna go with the owners or Jon? Jon Gruden, you got to go. Mark Davis, lover of Jon Gruden, signed out. He gave him a $100 million contract. He said, we got to move on. I'm interested to see what names are going to pop up because we know about Jon Gruden. We know about, Dan Snyder. A lot of emails going back and forth. I want to see who's going to come to the forefront because if this goes bad, it's not going to be a good look for the NFL because it's going to expose a lot of things. But you email because you don't want people to see it, private servers, all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to be interested to see Jon Gruden. I think he works for Bally Sports or I know he's working with somebody now.
Barstool. He's working with Barstool.
Yeah, working with Barstool. So he ain't lacking no money. He's still doing the Fire Football Coach Association. He gets to go around. He's still well beloved as far as NFL coaches and players, but the NFL ownership, no, we don't really want to deal with him because if he can expose one of us, he can expose all of us. We're not doing that, but it will be an interesting trial. Because Jon Gruden, if he's as animated as he is as a coach on that stand, it's going to be must-see TV.
Meg, how you feeling about this? Are you surprised?
Surprised, no, but kind of waiting with bated breath. So I think, like Ben just said, there's going to be repercussions that ripple out across the whole of the NFL for this, regardless of the outcome, because we know we've seen high-profile court battles in recent years where everyone's so invested. Even if you're not a massive fan of the person, you don't know a lot about them, when it's a high-profile case, people get involved, people have their opinions. And unfortunately, we know the content of those emails. We've seen, snippets of what's been said. And who knows how many people are going to be entrenched in that. Like Ben just said, we're going to see so much more than we already know now. And that ripple effect is going to be massive. And I love football, full stop. It's a sport wide love for me. So if the NFL's not doing great, then that has an impact on us as fans as well. And I think that when you've got a reputation to uphold and so many rumors about conspiracy theories and everything else that goes around the leadership at the top of the NFL, this is not a great look. Realistically, they've done everything that they could to mitigate this and to try and prevent it getting public and prevent this bun fight, if you like, going ahead in the court of public opinion. Because ultimately, regardless of what that judge decides and regardless of what the jury decides, the court of public opinion is going to have a massive input here, and it is going to damage reputations. It could destroy reputations. We might see some real leadership movement, ownership movement. Who knows?
I say it like this: like, yes, it is going to be a black eye on them, regardless of what anyone thinks or says. I don't think it's going to have. This is a machine that is so big; it's not going to completely damage it or derail it. I don't think you guys are going to be affected overseas. I mean, the international growth of the NFL, I don't think there's not much that's going to be able to stop that outside of sending you guys sending the international people bad matchups. Other than that, I think everything's going to be fine. I'm already sitting there saying that I'm waiting for them in these locations that they love to go to build their actual stadium over there for some of these matches, so we stop seeing them on soccer pitches and things like that. So I think at the end of the day, Jon's gonna get compensated for not only him paying for lawyer fees and everything to get to hear what he was owed and damages. I think he at the end of the day, there is going to be a court of common opinion, and obviously we'll be giving the NFL their due love or hate for it. When it's all said and done, you do wrong by people, you have to be held accountable. Doesn't matter. We hold these players to these high standards. I need to hold the NFL ownership to the same one. Me and Ben's been beaten down on the FLPA almost for the past month now. There has to be a higher standard when you are basically the pinnacle of sports organization here in the United States, and you're trying to become throughout the world. So there's going to be repercussions. There's going to be things that maybe we don't want to hear. But at the end of the day, I agree with what Ben said. Jon Gruden is going to be a coach somewhere in college football at some point in time over the next few years. But the rumors, Ben, it is the SEC.
Oh
I'm hearing LSU already.
Yeah, I mean he's a big name. The thing about college football is if you don't know if you give me a big name, Harbaugh leaves the NFL, goes to Michigan. Pete Carroll left the NFL, went to USC. Like if you're Bill Belichick at UNC, I get that part. But I think for Jon Gruden, he's really wanting to say is, why y'all trying to put it all on me? It was a bunch of bad stuff going around, and y'all made me the scapegoat. That's the part. It's like, wait a minute. It's almost like we all doing crime, and I'm the one got to take it. No. I'm not afraid of y'all owners. See, most coaches will say you can risk your football reputation. No, man, my reputation is good. I'm getting paid by Barstools. I got the 5 Football Coaches Association down there in Tampa, and I'm still a big name. I mean, I'm the only guy that break down film, and I don't have a team to coach. That's about as weird, but it's Jon Gruden. That's who he is, and I think Jon Gruden is doing what anybody would do. If I worked for a major corporation and we was doing things that we probably shouldn't have been doing, and it came to the light, and I'm the only one got punished, absolutely not. You do not get to walk away because you were an owner or because we talking about GMs too now. We got GMs, presidents. I think it's going to get real ugly because if they call you to the stand, whether you did something or not, just being a part of this trial, I'm like, hey, dude, what did you say? So I think it's going to expose a lot more. The NFL is going to survive it, like Meg said, because it's football. But somebody walking up there you don't think gonna walk up there. You're gonna be like, wait, what? He said what? So I think he says, if my reputation was tarnished, at least your reputation got to be tarnished, even if you are an owner or a GM. Hey man, it's petty one-on-one, and I'm here for all of it.
And speaking of petty one-on-one, I'm gonna just jumps me into this right to this next one. So obviously, I don't know if everyone's seen this. I gave you guys a topic list. There's a report that came out. Obviously, there's going to be some male cheerleaders there for Minnesota this year. There's actually been male cheerleaders here on the Philadelphia team. Minnesota fans are up in arms. We're threatening to revoke our season tickets. What's wrong with y'all? Like, do y'all not pay attention to college sports at all? Do y'all realize there's men cheerleaders in the cheerleader squad, right? I get it. I get the optics of it. I don't care what these guys' sexual orientations are at the end of the day. There is nothing wrong with male cheerleaders in sports, man. You got to have the big, strong guys that throw the girls up in the air, right? How do you think that happens? They are part of men being a part of cheerleaders isn't a new concept. Anyone who pays attention to college football or college athletics know this. So I'm going to start with Meg here. Do you think the Minnesota fans need to grow up a little bit and just let the natural fluidity of what cheerleading is be?
Yeah, so I have quite big opinions on this actually, because I think that, I call myself feminist, but I'm not. I'm an equalist. I think everyone should be given the opportunities that are equal to their abilities. So when you see male cheerleaders, if they're doing as good a job as a female can do, then why the hell not? For so long, it's been, women are fighting this and women deserve equality. And it's kind of like switched the roles here a little bit and said, the boys, the men are standing out and saying, well, give us the chance. Let us, be the focal point in a different way that's not just, playing ball. And I just think that, yes, it's a minority. We should point out it's a minority of Minnesota fans. It's not the masses, but it's a voice that's loud enough to be being heard. And that's the focus. Why are we not focusing on the positive of saying these guys are getting a chance here? For the first time, it's part of Minnesota Vikings history. For the first time, let's highlight that. Let's spotlight that and say, hey, we're progressing. We're moving forward, with the times. And instead, what we're getting is this negative input from this minority saying, why are they trying to look like girls? Well, they can look like what the hell they want. They can wear what they want. They can have pom-poms if they want. They can, be the flyer in the cheer team if they want. Like, it doesn't matter. And I think people need to, wind their damn necks in and stop, bitching about it, because it's ultimately, they're not doing anything wrong. Who's getting hurt here? No one. So, yeah, it infuriates me when I see stories like this, because I just think, stop being so damn petty. Amen.
Ben, what are you feeling, brother? I know you're a big college guy, so.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think sometimes, right, we got this isolated way of having this. Oh man, this is crazy. This happens every day. Like, social media just makes you more. They did a layout, or you could see that he was doing it. It was on social media. People go crazy for nothing. I go, hold on for a second. Male cheerleaders have been around since cheerleaders have been around. Like, this isn't brand new. I get it. No, you know what it really is? You know what's really gonna break it? When it's a male Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Then it's gonna, because they're the most iconic. They got Netflix specials. Look, the guys, me going to the University of Florida, them guys that throw the cheerleaders up in the air, these big dudes. Now you ain't running up on them. You ain't gonna be like. Let's call it what it is. People have problems with, quote, feminine men. You need to get over it. It happens. It's happening right now. It's going to happen every day. And like you said, Meg, he's a cheerleader. What is he going to do? He's learning what happens when they ask a mascot to go out there and perform with the cheerleaders. Is that a problem too? No, we just want to be mad for nothing. Nowadays, anything sets people off. Now cheerleaders is gonna be a social construct. Oh my God, it ain't gonna stop. And I'm happy for whoever the guy is for Minnesota. And I think what it is You need more people like us speaking up for him because who knows what he got to deal with behind the scenes. If he's getting harassed by Minnesotans, what are we talking? What, sir? Please. I'm just saying, like, what are we talking about here? We got a male cheerleader. Male cheerleaders get scholarships in college, just like female cheerleaders do. And no, what this is really about is this is what this really is. There are certain people that really wanted to be professional cheerleaders, and they didn't make it, and they are pissed because he did. Sometimes it be some underlying stuff, but no, I think this is gonna have a 72-hour news cycle like a lot of things do, and I guarantee you he's gonna be the most popular cheerleader on the team, not because he's the best, but because of the publicity. So he's gonna bring more attention to Minnesota. But hey, man, when Minnesota's winning football games like they did in 2024, everything is polarized. And if they want a good team, this will be much to do about nothing. I'm happy for them. It's a job. And if you want to know, look at how much professional cheerleaders make. That's the travesty. They do not pay them a lot of money. This is more helping them boost their resume and boost their profiles. But man, congratulations to you. And if you think you could be a cheerleader for real, go to a cheerleader tryout. You think you could do it? They got to turn flips and catch it. Man, you can't do that stuff, man. I'm just telling you. Find yourself something to do. You know, these Twitter fingers, these X fingers, all people on social media. Get out your mama's basement, man. Stop harassing people who got a real job. If you don't like it, don't support Minnesota. Don't, bunch of Green Bay fans, bunch of Chicago Bears fans talking trash about the Minnesota Vikings cheerleader. We need to check some of these profiles. A lot of trolls out there, man.
Yeah, man. Like, listen, there's so many other things to worry about in life outside of, having a few male cheerleaders in the NFL. It's as Ben said, much to do about nothing. But we're gonna move on. First week of preseason is in the book, and so much has happened. I'm gonna homer out for a second. Obviously, we had open practice, and the Philadelphia Eagles raised $630,000 for the autism research, which they always do. The first preseason game came and gone. The Cincinnati Bengals played their starters for the better part of almost 2 quarters, and Tanner McKee looked pretty good. I've been sitting there saying for a few years I like Tanner McKee. He hasn't really had that many chances. He's been buried as the third quarterback on the roster the last 2 seasons. When Kenny Pickett went down in the Dallas game last year, he really kind of showed who he was. Started the last game, looked pretty good there. And I also want to kind of go around the NFL with some of the stuff that happened. Did y'all see what happened in the Seattle and the Las Vegas Raiders before the game started?
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, I saw Geno. Geno.
Meg said no. So hold on, let me pull it out.
Okay.
So obviously, Geno Smith is now the quarterback there. There was a sign that Geno's a bigger bust than DeMarcus Russell. Pete Carroll's crazy butts over here ripping down the sign on top of both Max and Geno giving the double bird. Listen, all that did last night, all that did to the Raiders, the players for the Raiders. Like, listen, my coach gonna go. He ain't having no nonsense on his field, and I'm going to say it now. I think that team is going to be a dark horse to get in the playoffs. Pete Carroll has a resume for a reason. He's been successful everywhere he's been, as Ben was already talking about with him going to USC after earlier coaching stints in New England. Winds up getting over the hump down there in Seattle. Probably could have won maybe 1 or 2 more Super Bowls there. The fates didn't work it out that way. He is a successful guy. He's a culture changing guy. I think a lot of fun stuff to see down there in Las Vegas. I think obviously Shedeur Sanders was kind of the talk of it all, but let's get our opinion on all of those rookie quarterbacks. Who do you guys feel made the biggest impact? Was it Shedeur Sanders? Jackson Dart looked really good. Did Tyler down there in New Orleans show who he was? I know Ben was paying attention what Cam Moore was doing. I'm going to start off on Meg on this one. Who do you feel like had the bigger first preseason game out of those 4 picks?
I mean, I liked what Shedeur does. I rate him. I think Jackson Dart is phenomenal and was looked over a lot during, draft time and combine, etc. I had my eyes on him. The way that Shedeur Sanders held himself just outside of the game, first of all, when he walks up to the journalist and he's like, you've had nothing but bad things to say about me, so you've just watched me play a decent game.
I'm gonna pull that up right there. I'm glad you brought that up because this is the quote from the journalist that he was surprised on a big night, like considering the circumstance that he would raise this up. He thought he was joking. Why would you be? Listen, we us as journalists, you're held accountable to the things you say too. Yeah. If you're going to sit there and do nothing but write negative about somebody and you come across that person, they going to call that you're going to have a guy like a Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to call a spade. You acting like a real knucklehead, man. If you're going to tell a story, tell the whole story. Don't tell the story that fits your narrative. Tell the whole story.
Go ahead, Meg. 100%. And I think one of the things that people kind of preconceive about Shedeur Sanders is that he's dead arrogant and that he's, so full of himself. But actually, the way that he handles himself, and we've got to remember, this is a young man. He's just out of college. Yes, he's got the fame and the cameras behind him and, his dad and all of that stuff. But he's a young man at the end of the day. He's a human being. And I think a lot of the time it gets forgotten about in the way that they're spoken about. And I thought the way that he handled that off the field, aside from all the football, was spot on, because he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't rude, he made a joke of it, and I thought, fair play. There's people who have handled it a lot worse in the past than he did. And in terms of his performance, even, he was asked to grade himself and he gave himself a C-. And I thought there was no way that performance was a C-. You look at Tyler Shaw over at the Saints, who couldn't, nothing was happening at that game for the first 3 quarters of the game. I got to the third quarter. I was like, man, am I really sitting up till 4 a.m. to watch this? Like, what am I doing with my life if this is what I'm watching at this time of night? But you look at, I think Shedeur Sanders, absolutely outstanding in terms of his character. And I think Jackson Dart had an absolute great game for New York as well.
Ben, your thoughts on the quarterback foursome there? Who, obviously Shedeur is definitely the talk of it, just because that's where the media cycle is going to go. I agree with Meg that Jackson Dart hasn't quite got the love, but that's probably because that he has 2 other highly touted veterans ahead of him on the depth chart, and I think Shedeur is going through that right now, because even after that game, they still have him as the 4th quarterback on the roster, which is insanity. Ben, go ahead, brother.
If the New Orleans Saints didn't realize how big of a problem they had, they definitely know now. Their perception is out the window, because no one knew how good or bad he was going to look, because, you got Tyrann Mathieu retiring. I mean, I know you still got some key guys on that team right now. Tyler Shaw looked bad. Like, he looked bad. And I get it, preseason. People say, do you take it serious? Do you not take it serious? Well, he can't become somebody different the next preseason game outside of playing better. They got a huge problem right now in New Orleans.
Oh, Ben, you're happy, right? You're happy.
Oh, absolutely. That means my Falcons
are going to be gone soon, right?
Listen, I hope, man. Please don't get my hopes up with that Kirk Cousins stuff. We got to get him up out of Atlanta. Jackson Dart did look good, and I think Jackson Dart needs to show why he will be ready to start when he's called upon. Yes, Russell Wilson's going to be the starter. Jameis Winston might be the best addition to a team for motivation and being a mentor, because Jameis Winston's not going to play, but he could be serviceable if, Russell gets hurt and they ain't ready for Jackson to go in. Jameis can go in. But Jackson Dart did look impressive. I was very impressed, because like I said about him, it's not that he couldn't play coming out of Ole Miss. That offense that he was in was not translatable to what the NFL. They did some crazy stuff with that Lane Kiffin stuff, but he showed a lot of poise. Cam Ward, I'm up and down. He had some moments, but a drop, he could have had a pick 6, made some nice throws. Here's the thing about Cam Ward. I'm going to keep saying it. If you can live with the mistakes, because he's going to make some, I think you got a shot to be real good, because what he did in college doesn't really translate to the NFL. Like the way he would improvise, he'll get on the field and just stand. I mean, he'll just stand perfectly still and just throw the ball. His mobility, I liked it. I like what I saw from him. I think Cam is going to be, because he's going to be the starter, obviously. whether if Will Levis would have been healthy or not, he's still going to be the starter game one. Then you get to Shedeur. Shedeur was must-see TV. I mean, everybody was watching this like it's a regular season game. Everybody's hurt right now. Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett. And he went out there and delivered. I mean, the thing about it, he played well into the third quarter. He knew it was going to be all eyes on him. And because he didn't give us no bulletin board material, people got real quiet after. It's almost like the critics was waiting on him to look bad to validate what they already think about it. Him going up to the reporter after the game, that's what he get from his dad. Like, look, man, I can sit here and act like I don't hear what you say, but I do. I can act like it don't bother me, but it does. I like that because a lot of pro athletes won't do that. I don't care what people say. Yeah, you do. I don't care what they think about me. Sure you do, right? Now, it might not be something you say outwardly, but I like the fact that he said, look, you ain't got nothing good to say about me. Like, not one thing. And I see that same reporter trying to go talk to the guy, I think the Texas Tech ball boy. That's petty. You trying to go deep to try to get some stories, but it's something that Shedeur said. People have a deep hatred for my daddy. So much so, they going to come at me. If Shedeur Sanders' last name wasn't Sanders, his daddy wasn't Coach Prime, he didn't have the I guess like before the season, like going through like the combine and stuff like that, and he still goes 5th round. And you just looking at him, that kid look good. That young man look good. And I think now for Shedeur, he's realizing, dude, there's nothing I can do. All I can do is go out there and be a good teammate. Myles Garrett saying things like, we're going to need you. We're going to need that dude. Because I think Kenny Pickett is going to get traded because you got him and Joe. I don't know I don't know what to think about Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I really don't. I ain't really heard anything about him. I mean, they say he don't look good. And you they didn't really want Dylan Gabriel or they wouldn't have drafted Shedeur. The owner of the Browns, I don't want to hear nothing from you. I don't want to hear anything saying things like if it would have been up to me, we wouldn't have drafted him. What kind of statement is that? I trust my president and my GM. They wanted Shedeur. With all the other quarterbacks you done picked, so whose decision was all those 7 8 other quarterbacks y'all done picked that didn't work? Going all the way back to Tim Couch. Man, Shedeur Sanders is built to handle adversity. He's like, dude, I can handle it. And there are 31 other teams hope Cleveland do something stupid, like cut Shedeur. If Shedeur get cut, which I don't think is going to happen, his phone, he gonna barely make it outside the facility. He gonna be on another team. So Shedeur is boosting his resume. He's doing it on the field when it matters, and he's having fun, man. Like it or don't like it, the boy can play football. It's never been about how he plays football. It's always been about everything else. But out of those 4, he looked the best. Even though Jackson Dart did look good, Cam Ward had some moments, and Tyler Shaw, him and Spencer Rattler, woo! It is gonna be a long year. Alvin Kamara gonna be tired by week 10. Dude, I can't run this many times because what else are they gonna do but run the football? So. But I was impressed.
Alvin Kamara hasn't ran for 1,000 yards but one time in his career, right?
Alvin Kamara is a guy that says, "Look, I'm gonna make the most out of what I have," because it used to be him and Clayton. He used to be the two man to run. I mean, but I think for now, Alvin Kamara is saying, "Look, I'm getting as much money as I can. They're not gonna let me leave New Orleans. They're gonna treat him like Barry Sanders, even though he ain't Barry Sanders at Detroit. They're not gonna let him leave. They're gonna pay him a bunch of money. He got the little hook. Well, they only got the hook in his nose and the diamonds in his mouth. He can play, man. Alvin Kamara he's a fantastic football player on a really, really bad team. So unfortunately for him, you too good to let go. Because who are they gonna pay to see? If Alvin Kamara does not play for the Saints, who are you paying to go see?
I already said it right now. If I'm your front office down there in Atlanta, Ben, I'm on the phone with with Kellen Moore, like, yo, what is it going to take for you to take on this contract in Kirk Cousins? Because we need quarterback help. If I was Atlanta, I'd preempt them because me and you've already talked to it. This Kenny Pickett ain't going to be on the Browns.
No.
After what just happened this was there's no way Kenny Pickett's going to be on that roster. So it's either that or you better. I think my best bet is that y'all do an interdivisional trade, swap some picks, and throw Kirk in there, because I think Kenny Pickett is going to wind up in LA as a backup because of what's going on the health wise with Mr. Matthew Stafford. That's just my initial thing. My last thoughts on the Shedeur thing. You know what's the funniest thing to me? Is leading up to the preseason game, you had all the media people. They're setting him up for failure. How? Everyone was injured. Oh well, he's going to be playing with the 4 and 5s. Isn't that who he's working with in practice, anyways? So how are they trying to set him up for failure? No, they were giving him his opportunity because the guys. Joe Flacco wasn't starting that game. There was no way in hell they were going to have the 20+ year veteran start the first week of the preseason, because if he got hurt, their heads would be on pikes right now, right? They didn't set him up for anything. They set him up to, like, okay, you show us who you are. He did that. As Ben was sitting there saying, he was sitting there saying to Myles Garrett, "I wish you were out there. I want to see if I get see if you get some swipes on me." He's like, "Nah, young man, we need you for the long run." He knows when Myles Garrett knows what they have down there. And as I'm already talking about injuries, it's been rough, man. It's been a rough week. Obviously, everyone knows what happened in the Detroit game with Maurice Norris, Landon Dickerson. At the end of open practice, hurts his MCL. Looks like he's going to miss a few games this season, potentially. They say it was a minor knee injury. I think he had surgery either yesterday or is having it today on his meniscus, and that he could possibly be ready for week 1. That dude is so freaking tough, man. You cannot put a price tag on. I think that's why everyone loves Landon Dickerson here in Philadelphia. I know there's multiple knee injuries and things of that nature. Rest him. Y'all, we are deep. We have one of the best offensive line coaches on top of offensive lines in the NFL. Let him sit. Let him sit. I know he wants to be out there for Dallas. This is the big one down there in for the Chargers. They just signed this man to a huge extension. And he blows his knee out. He's done for the year. That's a big hit. The Ravens game, that was another one. One of those.
Yeah.
His leg was 90 degrees the wrong way, man. That was a scary, scary moment. We talk about this all the time. The NFL is you can't hide there. Like, it don't matter where you are on the roster spot. If your body ain't ready for it, the league's going to tell you you got to sit down, young man. You're not quite ready for this. That's just the tip. As I was sitting there saying, Matthew Stafford got hurt in the practice with Dallas. A lot of stuff going on, and we haven't even hit week 2 of the preseason. What are some? Again, we'll start off with Meg on this one. Who's like the most surprising name that you see pop up on that injury report after the first week of preseason?
Yeah, I think that Ravens cornerback was horrific to watch. The way that his I heard that he's torn his MCL, ACL, and he's like shattered bones in his leg as well. So if so, that's potentially career ending, let alone season ending. Yeah. Obviously, I was watching the Falcons Detroit game, and it was not a great thing to watch at all. Rondell Moore, obviously his season's over. Who else? I've made some notes on this one. Interestingly, Tyrod Taylor, the Jets QB2.
Yep.
Now, the Jets are not in a great situation in terms of quarterbacks and players to choose from, so that's going to hit them at some point this season, I reckon.
And Fields had also dislocated one of his toes already. So if I'm the Jets, you got to be. I'd literally not let him take another snap until you guys get to the regular season, because you do not. You can't risk it.
You can't risk it. And then obviously the biggest injury of the whole week was Anthony Richardson. God love him, sending prayers with his pretend broken finger. He had to just leave the field again because nothing was broken.
Anthony Richardson is Ben's second favorite quarterback to hate on.
honest to goodness, what on earth is going on there? That guy is just letting his team down. There is players who have literally played through worse than that for years. He staved his finger. Let's move on. You might have dislocated it, pop it back in, get back on. it blows my mind that he's already got such a bad rep. You would be doing everything you could not to feed into that, surely. And then it's like week 1, we're not even starting the season. We're in pre-season. Week 1, you're already letting the team down. What on earth? Come on.
And not just that, they've already announced Daniel Jones is starting next week. So you're letting the guy who could potentially take your job get more eyes on him, get more snaps, and get more familiar with the ones and the offense. It's not a good look for Anthony Richardson. Ben, I know you've been hard on him. You were hard on him last season. He don't make it easy for himself, does he?
He doesn't. I mean, football 1-on-1. I know everybody been giving a lot of insight on that play when he got hit. I mean, look, if the line is sliding to the left, your running back got a free release. That slot receiver, he gonna break off his route to run hot. The free player, that's on you. You got to see that, and you're right-handed. He's coming from the right side. I can see if he was coming from the left, that's your blind side. But I think the thing about Anthony Richardson has proven that just because you look like a Greek god, you got to play. And that the quarterback position requires how you play. It's above the neck, below the neck. Listen, what they say, below the neck is for the ladies, above the neck is for your team, man. Come on, man. Like, yeah, the lady, I like the way Anthony Richardson looking in him, with his shirt off. Yeah, but he got to play with shoulder pads and a helmet on. And he got to think his way through this thing. My athletic ability can't take over if I can't do the basics. I got to master the basics. And he's already heard again in the quarterback competition that he had the leg up because he's been there for 2 years. But at a certain point, you got to believe what he shows you that he is. And I get it. Going 4th overall, quarterbacks get drafted high all the time. They don't pan out all the time. That happens every single year. It's going to happen. You just hope it ain't your team. You hope you get a guy that's going to be there for 10, 15, 20 years. The Slaughter guy, Slaughter out there with the Chargers, that hurt. But that's why you need guaranteed money and years on the contract. Mrs. Slaughter, I mean, she can be like, oh, it's easy to rub his face when he got $113 million coming. Yeah, it'll be all right. I think we'll find a way. He'll get a chance to spend time with his wife more and his kids more, and hopefully he'll come back stronger. Rondale Moore is tough because he tore his knee last year. Now he tore his knee again. The injury bug in the preseason in the NFL will decide the longevity of your career. Everybody's going to deal with it. Every single player. You never got injured in your life till you become a professional because you're doing it every day. Listen, when you in Pop Warner and you eating candy and, you never get hurt because you ain't lifting weights yet. Then you start lifting weights when you get to high school. Body start getting a little tenser. Now, as your body gets tighter, the bones get tighter. And then when you get in the NFL, as most of these trainers say, it's only a matter of time. They are surprised that there aren't more players with lower extremity injuries. Because, look, people that big, that fast don't supposed to move like that. Guys that big, don't supposed to be starting and stopping and moving. But that's the game. So the cornerback from the Ravens, that's hard to watch. And obviously, the Falcons Detroit game, I appreciate that they just said, listen, we're not going to play no more. It is preseason and everybody's trying to get a look. But football has to remind people what it is sometimes. Hey, man, you know what we out here watching? This is not a contact sport. It is a collision sport. That's why people watch. Now, I'm not doing that. I'll watch it. I'm not going to do it. But you will be able to shape your roster after the preseason because right now it's 17 games, 3 preseason games. Pretty soon it's going to be 18 games, 2 preseason games. What they're going to end up doing is having no preseason games and just have inter-squad scrimmages. They're not even going to do the preseason because they want to – the NFL is predicated on its best players not being hurt. So Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, as long as those guys are around, they'll be all right. One of those – you remember when Peyton Manning missed the whole year because of his neck? That's why he can't hit a quarterback high. Tom Brady missed the whole year for ACL, can't hit a quarterback low. The quarterbacks are the NFL. Whether we like it or not, you got to have those guys because they are the faces. If you know nothing else about a team, you know who the quarterback is. And if you don't know who the quarterback is, that team is not that good. They're just not. But, the injury, it's going to be injuries. It's injuries every week, let alone every day. Most of the time, we don't hear about it because they're not a big enough player. But you got to be careful because you can only get better at football when it's played for real. Practice is great. That's when I can get better at my craft. But in the game, they can hit the quarterback. and they're gonna try to hit him hard. They're gonna try to hit him often. But yeah, I'm all those guys. As a guy that had to deal with my set of injuries, never had any. Only had foot stuff. Never had no knee. Nowadays it's Achilles. Achilles. When you tell your Achilles breaking through that's career ending. Not just it's hard to come back from it, but hey, we're gonna be watching this injury thing a lot. And the more we do it, the less these star players are gonna play. They're gonna be on the sideline in regular clothes, cheering on. Because if we're being honest, what do Patrick Mahomes need to do with the preseason? Nothing. The first 2 or 3 games in the NFL, they're so sluggish because you're working the kinks out. But it's a part of it. Meg and Steven, when you talk about the injury thing, listen, I didn't do well in anatomy when I was growing up. I know a lot about anatomy now because I was breaking those bones, tearing those bones. I know about fifth metatarsals, and I know all kind of crazy little word, man. See, people know ACL. You got an MCL and a PCL. All 3 of those are in the knee. My fifth metatarsal, that's a bone in your foot. How do I know? Because I broke it. That's how the doctor talked to you. I said, Doc, listen, you need to speak to me like I didn't go to medical school. Did I break my foot or not? Okay. Because, and how long it is a surgery or not. But get well, take your time. Because a lot of times when you get hurt, you come back stronger. But then you questioning your ability because you've been out of football for a year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting there saying that Landon should take his time. He's had multiple knee injuries. They have a few guys on the roster for the Eagles that could play. We drafted that guy, Trevor Keevan from Michigan last year. I think he could fill in nice. You still have Matt Pryor there. The guy they trade, we didn't mention this, C.J. Gardner-Johnson too. Both guys involved in that trade were carted off the field 2 days apart, and because of the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson injury, former Eagle Jalen Mills is now over there in Houston. So Green Goblin's going to be purple this season, so to speak. Listen, yeah, the injury thing is going to happen. No matter if we're talking preseason, whatever. Football's an impact sport. It's always going to be rough on the players. That's why I keep sitting there saying I say 53 is not enough. I think there should be a 60-man roster in the NFL, and there should be a 10-player allowance for your practice squad for these exact reasons. I hope when they get to the CBA in a few years that these are things that are also talked into on top of, because they're going to be trying to add another game. Well, I need access to more players, things of that nature as the sport grows. We need to have these things in line. So we'll see what happens with that. I do, anyone that's been on the injury list or is a little nicked up right now, guys, get healthy, get you guys back out there. And let's use our heads. And speaking of let's use our heads, Myles Garrett ain't learned a goddamn thing, man. People who don't know, we already been talking about players, vehicles, speed, and everything. Since the Henry Ruggs situation, people were upset that he was given work release recently. They have talks with people about this. Myles Garrett totaled his car 2 years ago, missed a few games because he was speeding, driving around acting like a crazy man. Well, what was he doing this past week? He's speeding, driving around like a crazy man. He was doing 100 miles an hour in a 60 zone. Myles, what are you doing? Did we not learn our lessons? Have we not seen like y'all make enough money? You can rent out, a NASCAR track if you so well pleased to, and do it in a safe environment, not where you could hurt yourself and others. Please, guys, stop doing this. Y'all have too much money, too much time on your hands to not be doing things you enjoy as a young man in a safer environment. Don't put yourself in danger to be suspended, to be arrested, to be pulled over. I've already sat there and said it. We talked about it many times. There are guys that love speed, without a doubt. Fletcher Cox, as soon as he retired, he bought ACO Raceway. He has a race team. He's doing a quarter mile in 3.9 seconds at this point in time. We know that a lot of these guys, that they love cars. I get that. there's got to be a better way than just sitting there, hopping on a highway, hopping on some random street and putting the pedal to the metal, man. Like, I get it. I was that guy too. I did some stupid stuff too. I'm not Myles Garrett that has damn near unlimited funds. If I had Myles Garrett money, I probably would have been at the racetrack every day, every week. And I'll bring up the Henry Ruggs things again. He took people's lives and has lost his career and is in jail right now. Arguably, at the time, one of the top guys, top rated guys coming out of the draft, going out there to Las Vegas, and his life is turned upside down now because he was speeding, acting a fool in a car, and people lost their lives. I don't want to wake up. We've already experienced that here down in Philadelphia. We lost Jerome Brown because he's speeding in his Corvette. This team was never the same after Jerome Brown died because of what he not just meant to those guys he was with, what he meant to this team, this city. We all have an experience with that through one way. I don't want to see Myles Garrett on the news that he is no longer on this earth because he was driving around acting a fool. I'm gonna start off with Ben on this one, brother. Like these guys got to find a better way to do this.
Yeah, well, listen, Myles Garrett having the unlimited funds, you hit something going 100 miles an hour, boy, it's not going to be good. I don't care who you are because, yes, Myles Garrett, I think he's 30, 31 years old. Yeah, everybody's either wanted to drive fast, have driven fast, but everybody's not Myles Garrett. Everybody, dude, you know what you represent. You under the face. You definitely the face of the Browns, one of the faces of the National Football League. I would always, if I sit down with Myles, I'm gonna close the door and I'm gonna say, for what? Like, for what? Because at a certain point, knowing better ain't enough. You got to do better. Like, Myles, what? You hit somebody. Yeah, I know you can't wait to do a press conference with your shirt off. That can't help you. You hit something going 100 miles an hour. Because whatever you hit is done, and you done. A car don't save you for going 100 miles an hour, and neither can a seat belt. I mean, I'm just saying, or an airbag. Because if you do survive, it ain't gonna be good either. So I think Coach Stefanski, he came out and said it's disappointing. One, because like you said, this is your second offense, Myles. Two, you Myles Garrett. Like that police officer is like, I guess license registration, Myles. Like what? Like, come on, man. Like, and here's the thing: when people say people take advantage of their position, that's taking advantage, man. You are Myles Garrett in Cleveland, Ohio. Don't do that. That police officer like, dude, I got to do something. Because if I don't, now I'm showing favoritism to Myles. If I do, now I'm hating on Myles. You put the police department in a bad position, but you rather that police department pull you over because police officer pull you over because you were speeding than have to pull up on a scene. Like, dude, I don't know who it's gonna be bodies and debris all over. I think these players, Henry Ruggs is a great example of, dude, if you're a celebrity and you out and your friend try to take your keys, you got to be a friend that don't need nothing from here. Dude, I don't need nothing from you. I take care of myself. You're a friend of mine because now your life is over. If you are Myles Garrett, you driving 100 miles an hour sober. You driving that with no alcohol in your system and you still gonna die. Or whatever you hit gonna die. And then we're going to be talking about, well, man, he made a mistake. No, man. Making a mistake is doing the first time. The second time, we talking about some habits. It means that Myles drives fast a lot. He just don't get caught a lot. Myles like to drive fast. And am I mad at Myles for wanting to drive fast? No. Am I mad at Myles for driving fast and he's Myles Garrett? Yes. When I was in the National Football League, they told us, listen, man, only do things that the whole league can learn from. Stop doing things we already know the consequence of. Domestic violence, don't put your hands on the ladies. Drunk driving, we know. Failing drug tests. Come on, man, give us something new. Be creative with your dumb stuff. Give us some dumb creativity at this point. Don't give us the same old. Because once again, Coach Stefanski is like, dude, you need to get you a car that don't even go fast. Get you a car that only can go 80. And here's the thing. Yeah, you're Myles Garrett. You can drive a Kia. You're Myles. It don't matter what you drive, A.J. Brown. You don't. And I think that's a part that pro players need to get. You got all this money. You don't have to show. You're Myles Garrett. Somebody should see you at the used lot arguing back and forth with the dealer. Man, I'll give you $3,500. Man, you what? Because now because Miles drive fast and because he's so high profile, you put the Browns in a very compromising situation. Because dude, how do we discipline you? Like, what do? We ain't gonna spend you no game. But what does that say to a Shedeur Sanders who already had his run in with speeding, and to the 53 man on the roster who's saying, well, dang, I look up to Miles, he's doing stuff like that. If you don't think that stuff trickle down, it does. I'm not coming at Miles. I'm just telling you, come on, man. And you 30 now, Miles. I get you 21, you 31, or whatever you are. Do you want to enjoy this new contract, or do you want to be a vegetable? Because if you hit something going that fast, forget football. You can be talking about your life and the life of the people you hit. Yeah, he need to do better than that, man. Because listen, my car can go fast. Ain't a fast car. Got some cars that can go a little fast. I got a wife and kids, man. My wife gonna be like, forget the police. Wife gonna show up on the scene. What the hell is you doing? Because the insurance finna go. now we got to pay more insurance because of you. So, Miles, let's just do better, man. Come on. We need positive publicity for the Browns, not named Shedeur. And you are the only thing they got. Because no one cares about Dylan. No one cares about Kenny Pickett. No one cares about Joe Flacco. And if I see another Deshaun Watson, he's running now. Who cares? Who cares that Deshaun Watson can run in a straight line? Come on, man. Get out of here.
Go ahead, Meg.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that too often we are seeing the criminal headlines of the NFL, and I look at people that I know that really look up to these players, young people. I coach. I'm a teacher through the week, so the young men that I teach and that I work with are looking up to these players and saying, one day when I grow up, I would love to be able to do what he's doing. And if what he's doing is, speeding down the road at 100 miles an hour in a sports car, looking, thinking he's looking fly, then that's what those kids are looking up to and thinking is okay. Like Stephon Diggs partying on a boat with, whatever substance that was, and behaving the way that he does. It's perpetuating a culture that looks on the outside acceptable. Because Stephon Diggs got a slap on the wrist and we'll have a private conversation. Myles Garrett, do better. But realistically, in real life, for the average Joe who's walking down the street, if I got caught doing 100 miles an hour, my license would be gone. That's the law in this country. If you're over 100 miles an hour, your license gets taken and you're banned for 5 years. That's it. So it's an unrealistic way to put across that kind of lifestyle of what is acceptable, because realistically, nobody else is getting away with that. If I go into work on Monday morning and I've been caught on a yacht on the weekend taking some unknown substance, I'm getting sacked. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. See you later, Meg. That's how it goes. And unfortunately, with Myles Garrett, like we said, it's not the first time. I don't think it'll be the last time. And I think all actions have consequences. And until those consequences match up to the reality for everybody else, we're going to keep seeing these players making mistakes. And I get it. Some of them are young men who, for the first time in their life, have got a bit of money. They can buy that nice car. They can buy those fancy gadgets. They can afford to, put whatever they want up their nose. But realistically, they have to be held to a higher standard of, this is the NFL. This isn't, even, college ball. It's not the same thing. You're presented on a worldwide stage that is massive. And if you're doing a disservice to the sport, in my opinion, that needs to be dealt with harsh. Real harsh. Because until we start setting examples, we're still going to get these things happening year on, year out.
Yeah, it's like I said, both the guys named aren't the only guys that's been caught speeding, and laws are definitely different over in the UK there, Meg. So I think I agree. I think that should become like an international law. If you're over 100 miles an hour, that 5 years. It's not even a question. And then I think you'd see a lot less people doing that because there's actual real accountability to it. Here in the United States, you still have to go before a judge and see what's what. You get lucky, sometimes you get an understanding judge and they may only have to pay their fines and deal with a 6-month suspension, maybe a year suspension. 5 years is a long time, and that's an actual holding people accountable. So that's something I agree with. That we even had the kid from Rice. He beat the court case, but now he's dealing with the civil side of what happened with his car accident. Listen, and I'll keep beating this drum. There are racetracks all over this country. Whether we're talking quarter mile or again, I don't know if you guys got to do a deal with NASCAR where you can have track late night. I don't know what y'all need to do, but please stop doing this on regular roads. I don't want to wake up and see we lost another athlete by making stupid decisions, because that's what is at the end of the day.
I genuinely, and I mean this wholeheartedly, if you choose to speed and you choose to behave in that way, if you kill yourself or injure yourself and injure your career, that's on you. I don't care. If you hurt someone else who's innocently driving by or walking down the road, that's when I've got a problem. You want to go kill yourself by driving at 100 miles an hour in a bollard, feel free, mate. Your choice.
All right. And speaking of nonsense, we're gonna get into some nonsense here. Every once in a while, we like to throw these lists out there. Came across this graphic, and I wanted to get into it. They were talking about the top 10 most overrated players of all time. There's some people I agree with on this specific list where I'm not going to use this as our preference. Obviously, I definitely think Ben's going to have some issues with them putting Mr. Matt Ryan down there at number 10. But that's their list. This isn't our list. I'm starting off with number one, and I'm gonna go to my grave with this. I've actually gotten into it with somebody on social media about this week, because someone was sitting there arguing when Eli Manning is going to be a Hall of Famer. He is not a Hall of Famer. You can't give me two magical runs in the playoffs with being 117 and 117 as a starting quarterback in this league. Does he has numbers? Yes. Does namesake? Yes. I do think just because of his name and who he beat at some point in time, he will be in the Hall of Fame. I still think he is the most overrated quarterback that we've seen in the past 20 years. He is my number one most overrated player on this list. I'm going to go down to Meg. Meg, who is your number one?
See, it's tough for me because I've only watched the NFL for 2 years. I've not grown up on this. So my kind of reference points are limited. I agree with you on the Eli Manning front. I do. And I've had a similar conversation amongst on a different podcast, my weekly one, where we were talking about the fact that he will definitely will get to the Hall of Fame based on his name. Yeah. I think I saw Michael Vick on that list, and I have very mixed feelings.
So you can kind of see it. I don't think Michael Vick isn't overrated. Because of his personal things, he didn't fulfill his potential. I think you've seen here in Philadelphia when he had Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Shady McCoy, and he had that team here. You've seen who he could be.
Yeah, and that's kind of what
threw the team apart and completely threw them in the gutter. Then he got nicked up. He had injuries. I do not call him overrated.
No, and that's what I was going to say.
Go ahead, Meg.
When I saw him on the list, I thought it's not necessary. I think people maybe have a skewed vision of Michael Vick as a quarterback because, like you said, he had a lot of things that happened during his career that maybe we didn't see his full potential, and then obviously we saw how it ended with Michael Vick, or how things went, eventually. And I think maybe doesn't get enough credit as, one of also left-handed quarterback. So one of the standouts, and that's maybe me being a little bit of a homer because, I'm a Falcons girl through, but yeah.
I was surprised that I've seen Matt Ryan on that list. I don't care who you are. Again, I don't think Matty Ice deserves to be on any overrated list ever. I think he did more than come through for the Falcons franchise when it was a mess down there, and he gave them stability. He had Julio Jones there. Is anyone talking about Julio Jones being overrated? No, I don't think so. There's a reason why those two are connected, and I think I don't think he should be on an underrated list. Let me go to Ben here. Who's your number one overrated player?
Okay, so these are conversations that I have a lot. You know, people get, people that I know we go back and forth with. I look at overrated way, way differently. I look at overrated like this: the player you were and the player you could have been, based off what you've done. So my number one overrated, it is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been in the league by 20 years. He's been to one Super Bowl. Think about this. Steven, he got 4 MVPs. He's been to one Super Bowl. Oh, who did he beat? Oh, he beat the Steelers. Now, overrated doesn't mean that you weren't him. It means you didn't live up to it, which brings me to number 2. Brett Favre. Good Lord. Brett Favre played a long time. He got a bunch of MVPs too. He got one Super Bowl, which brings me to number 3. And I get so sick of this. Drew Bledsoe. Why do people go so crazy over Drew Bledsoe? He's more known for being the guy that, in front of Tom Brady than anything else. Listen, great numbers, right? Great numbers. But I just don't get it, which brings me to a number 4. Tony Romo. People like Tony Romo, he's gonna what? I'm not saying Tony Romo started that when it comes to Dallas, but he's like an orchestrator of really, really good, but not great. Like good, but not great, right? Another guy that I thought he was gonna transcend the sport, he didn't do it. Reggie Bush. Boy, when Reggie Bush got drafted, Steven, I thought he was gonna change the way I look at the running back position. He was good. He was good now, but he wasn't great. He wasn't great. Which brings me to another running back, Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker comes out of Georgia. Herschel Walker is more known for the trade with Troy, for like the Troy Aikman and the Emmitt Smith and the playmaker. But that's about it. He was a good player. And listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to say this next game, and people can get mad at me. He is overrated. I don't care. You got Eli. I got Peyton. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning he did it all. Peyton Manning went to 3 Super Bowls, right? In his 14-year career, he played in 2 Super Bowls over there. He played in 4 Super Bowls, I think. He went to 2 Super Bowls in 14 years when he was with the Colts. The only reason why he won the first one is because he played against the Chicago Bears, and that was against my boy Rex Grossman, former teammate. Right, so he gonna win that one. He gonna win that one. What happened when he played? What happened when he played against New Orleans? Oh, he lost. What happened when he played the first time against Seattle? Got the brakes beat off them with Denver. Then he comes back that last one in 2015, Von Miller and that defense, DeMarcus Ware, they saved him. When I say overrated, I'm just saying, did they live up to it? Some could say that Peyton Manning was arguably the best quarterback you've ever seen, and he went to 4 Super Bowls. Him and his brother, Eli, got the same number of wins in the Super Bowl. And Eli got more Super Bowl MVPs. Now, I still don't. Now, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's another guy that talks a lot, but he's overrated. Le'Veon Bell. Please be quiet. You had some years with Pittsburgh, but it really wasn't much to talk about once you left there. I'm going to give you a name that talks a lot too, Steven. Why don't Keyshawn Johnson think he was the truth? Why don't Keyshawn talk so much? Like, come on. Keyshawn, you number 1 overall pick. So you got 1, 2, 3. Here's my number 1 most overrated player, and I don't get it. Brian the Boz Bosworth. We got to look at Netflix special. Brian Bosworth was in the league 3 years, Steven. 3 years. Now, it's a bunch of guys you can say is overrated. But, once again, let me get my definition. Overrated means you just didn't live up to it. But my number 1 of all time is always going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed.
Because, like I said, man, he can throw some pretty passes. Yeah, he do a bunch of other stuff too, like kill locker rooms, get coaches fired, get GMs fired, get offensive coordinators fired, does Netflix specials. One week he looks like, he got a haircut. The next week he looks like, he done dyed his hair blonde like Brad Pitt off the movie Thor. I'm just saying, you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know who's going to show up. But Aaron Rodgers is the greatest. It's not my fault you ever seen. It's everybody else. It's not me. It's them. Now, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. We got a bunch of Hall of Famers on here, right? Got a bunch of Hall of Famers on here. But I'm going to tell you the most overrated. Outside of Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to give you a defensive player. and I just don't get it. Jadeveon Clowney.
Damn.
Oh my God. He was the number one. He was the number one player in high school. He was the number one pick in the draft. And outside, if I got to see that play against Michigan one more time, that was in college. Jadeveon Clowney is in his 30s now. So Jadeveon is my number one defensive guy. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tony Romo, Drew Bledsoe. And I mean, this overrated list could just go on and on. And people are like, man, who are you to call me overrated? I said, look,
Now,
if you
I agree with about 90% of it. I won't put Peyton on there. I do think he probably should have won a bit more. Another one that gets all this praise, he has a losing record as a quarterback, is Joe Namath. So I'm right.
Oh my God! Oh yeah. Yes. Outside of that Super Bowl,
record, he's a Hall of Famer. Stop playing with me. Bledsoe, Favre, all them guys. I agree with. Tony Romo absolutely should be on there. Herschel Walker, Keyshawn Johnson, Reggie Bush. Do we talk about Troy Aikman?
Yes. Yes. And here's the thing. Troy Aikman has the most mediocre Hall of Fame numbers you ever seen outside of them Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowls. I get it. But he was very regular as a quarterback. I want to say Johnson that played, what's the guy named Johnson that played on the Super Bowl 2002 Bucks? He got more yards and touchdowns than Troy Aikman does. And no one even talks about, man, look.
You're talking about Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson has better numbers. I'm telling y'all, at the end of this thing, Joe Flacco is gonna have the same number of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers. They're gonna have the same number. They're gonna have not the same career, but if Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl MVP, just like Aaron Rodgers. Joe Flacco is still in the league. Hold on. And just to show you how close, hold on, wait a minute. Joe Flacco is 40. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to be 42. So when people say that, they're right there. I want Aaron Rodgers born in 83. Joe Flacco was born in 85. So don't give me that dead same era. And what you think is harder to do? Be the starting quarterback of Green Bay behind Brett Favre when you ain't play for 3 years, or be the starting quarterback for the Ravens, then they go Ray Lewis over there. Man.
Now my last two honorable mentions before I throw it down to Megan, her kind of fill in where it is Frank Gore.
Yeah. He's gonna go to the Hall of Fame because he's third all time in rushing. But it's
his longevity is what got him there.
Yeah. He's gonna get the basketball Hall of Fame. He did it for so long. He was never considered the best running back, never considered any of that stuff. But I'm like, when did he get 1,600 yards? He played for like 38 years. So,
the other one, he was just telling us on social media yesterday that he's not retired, is Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh my!
Outside of the one-handed catch, please tell me what he's contributed to this.
Listen, I'm gonna give you another one, and people can get mad. Odell Beckham for the Giants. Dez Bryant for the freaking Cowboy. Dez Bryant was nice, but compared to what he was supposed to be, but yeah, Odell Beckham, I'm so sick of Odell Beckham. Is his hair black or is it another color? Because he gonna dye his hair blonde and green and purple. Listen, he had a shot to be really, really good, man. But once he started getting injured, he had to catch the ball with two hands. Then he got to look regular out there. He won a Super Bowl. And Odell Beckham Jr. was in a position to be the first rock star in the National Football. He was a rock. Like, this dude was like bigger than quarterbacks. And he was in New York, the biggest media market in America, the one-handed catch on Monday night, but he could play. I mean, OBJ, he's a three-letter superstar. Had his cleats cost so much money, man. My son wanted some. I was like, absolutely. I wanted to get him some too. He was, I want some OBJs. I saw that. I thought you got 400. That was a cleats. That's gonna get dirty. Absolutely not. So Odell, if you watch the fan in the end and you want to send me some cleats, autograph them. I can put them back here. You can't see it, but no, I'm not. But go ahead, Meg. I'm not. You know, this overrated list. We can do it all day.
Meg, you said you only been really paid attention for the last few years.
Matt Ryan should not be on that list. That is ridiculous.
You have a body of work to kind of formulate your own list here.
I think Aaron Rodgers, for me, I almost got banned off TikTok for being honest about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna lie. I got a warning to say I was harassing him. I wasn't.
Aaron Rodgers fans are just as bad as the LeBron fans.
Oh my God, him, Dak Prescott, and Travis Kelce. Can we just? Yes, Kelsey's been to the Super Bowls. I get it. He's overrated. I think Pat Mahomes is slightly overrated.
I love how everyone's sitting there saying Kelsey. Gronk, I think, was a better tight end. The guy that just went in the Hall of Fame this past year, Antonio Gates, never played a down of college football.
Man, nice.
Was a better tight end. But
nice.
No one wants to mention that. I still think that Tony Gonzalez is a better tight end than Travis. The only reason you can't say that is because he's a Kelsey, and everyone loves the Kelceys.
Listen, I love the Kelceys.
I got to give them a shout out. They want to have Taylor Swift on the podcast tonight.
I was about to say, Travis, you ain't got no juice with your lady. I was about to come at him like
they just had him in GQ.
No. I'm saying, listen. I guarantee. I mean, he went to her agents and was like, "Listen, can she come on the show? How long is the show gonna be? Have you seen my show before? No. Okay, well, we go on there. We just talk about we can talk about stuff. Me and my brother, you know, it's a good show. But listen, Travis Kelce. I said, Travis, do you really think you're that popular because you play for the Chiefs? You with Taylor. You know how many people saying, how many little girls say, that Taylor Swift boyfriend is a football player? Yeah, his name is Travis. Like, they didn't know. You know what
my sister's a Chiefs fan. I said to her, who's your quarterback? She said, how'd I know? I just know it's Taylor Swift's team. I'm like, it's not Taylor Swift's team at all. And we have this back and forth because she's hilarious, but knows nothing about football and still will know nothing about football in 5 years, but she'll still be listening to Taylor Swift.
Of course.
That's the reality. But she, I go back and forward about Travis Kelce all the time with people. I think, there are better examples of tight ends, and there are better examples of Kelce's. Because look at your boy Jason, by far the better of the two players.
Here's the thing that gets me about Jason: he was a running back at one point in time. He was a running back, and someone decided that to tell him to go play center. And he even says it to himself. He doesn't even think he's one of the best centers of all time. Everyone's talking about how he's going to be a first ballot. He doesn't see himself that way. Mike Webster is the epitome of what a Hall of Fame center should be, and 9 times out of 10, the only reason why people who know who Mike Webster is because he was the first case of CTE that the NFL had confirmed. That's how they know him. Mike Webster was that guy. But I think what made Jason so special was his ability to kind of run with the running backs, to be able to pull and do things like that, and be able to go down the field and block, where a lot of those big guys can't get up to that speed. Well, Jason could. Jason
is the type of athlete and person that is easy to root for, because I think he never sees himself as what the world sees him as. Look, man, you're an incredible athlete. Look,
yeah, he doesn't take himself too seriously. That's what I love about him.
But then he just was an incredible football player. Look, man, when you undersized at center and you're going up against the guys that you're giving up, 20, 30, and 40 pounds, but he played for the right organization. You got, look, blue collar city, gritty team, and I get to walk away a champ. I know the Sharp, Sterling, and Shannon were the first ever brothers to be in the Hall of Fame. You're gonna have the Mannings, unfortunately. You're gonna have the Watts. You also gonna have the Kelce's. And one could argue the Kelce's resume is going to be about as good as you're going to see, because while the Watts going to have a TJ and JJ going to have a bunch of sacks, they ain't going to have no Super Bowls. Bunch of money, they ain't going to have no Super Bowls. I mean, and like I say, I think with Travis and Jason, what Jason does for Travis is say, look, man, I'm the human. Like, all right, Travis, man, like, you got Taylor Swift. Your resume is pretty high because of who you with. Because you know how I know? Jason's wife's last name is Kelce. Taylor's not changing her last name to Kelce. It's going to be Swift for life. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't nothing wrong with that. She's an icon in what she does. But no, man, I think whatever their show was after Taylor comes on, my God, they're gonna be renegotiating whatever. But I am happy for a guy like Jason because Jason represents more everyday people. He just happens to play. He played football. He's up in. He's like, look, man, I'm out here chugging beers. I'm doing random stuff because while I am a former athlete, I got to show we have more fun when the game is over if you do it right. You position yourself right, man. You have so much more fun. And Jason, like, look, man, I'm a girl dad. I'm going to dance recitals and cheerleading competitions, man. My wife says as long as the dishes are clean and the girls are taken to school, you can have as much fun as you want. As long as you ain't neglecting husband and father, you can be as much as you want to be outside of that.
Last thoughts on this topic, Meg.
No, I just I don't want to go down an Aaron Rodgers rant because I'm already on a warning about it. Not here, but yeah, he is always going to be my Achilles, if you will. That man's name boils my blood, and that's all I'll say on it.
We all have those players that do it. You mentioned a few names. Dak Prescott. I think he's probably gets that because of what team he plays for and the contract he has and all that things. I still think Dak is a good quarterback. I think he's a good person. He just happens to be playing for the worst organization in the NFL, and which is the most overhyped organization in there. But speaking of organizations, let's get into this next little top 10 list, and I want to get your guys, especially because we got Ben on there, the top 10 most iconic stadiums in the NFL today. Obviously, if anyone starts this list off and they do not mention Lambeau Field, they should automatically be taking off it because we already know that that is basically where the NFL home has started. Lambeau Leap is special. This year's past draft was there. I'll always start off with that, but I mean there are a bunch of great stadiums out there for different reasons, different atmospheres. I think the atmosphere also plays into the stadium as well when we're making a list like this. So let me pull this one back up. This was Fox's one they did. They had Arrowhead, then AT&T Stadium, Soldier Field. I think Soldier Field and Green Bay should be like the top 1 and 2. Seattle's Field. That's a big one there as well. I don't agree with Steelers being on there. I do agree with the Saints and the Caesars Superdome. Denver should be on there. They got Philly in there, and I do not know why you have MetLife Stadium in there. It's not New York, it's New Jersey. I'm going to continue to say that. Let's start off with Ben. What are your top 10 stadiums there? I know. They cut your guys out there. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium should be at least six, right?
I know. I mean, when I saw this,
what are your you don't have to give a top 10. Your top 5, whatever.
I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, I mean, Lambeau and Soldier Field, they iconic. Like, I mean, and like you say, Lambeau Field is what you got it with Green Bay, but it is iconic. Soldier Field, Arrowhead, it is iconic. I hate to give them love. AT&T Stadium is iconic. I wish it wasn't. God, I wish Dallas Cowboy Stadium wasn't, but it is.
It's kind of overtaken them in the past few years. Just my
personal
opinion.
Yeah. Listen, the Lincoln Financial. Look, man, the Link is. Listen, I played at the Link when they ain't even have grass out there. They got green paint out there sprayed on top of dirt. It is a beautiful place to just go play football. MetLife is iconic. I wish it wasn't, but it is. But I will say this. If the Superdome is iconic, Mercedes-Benz Dome is iconic as well because the Superdome got iconic because of Hurricane Katrina. Then when it came back and they won a Super Bowl, because wasn't nobody worrying about no freaking Superdome in New Orleans. But you got Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I will say this, though. It's not on the list. Ford Field is iconic. The team just got good. But Detroit, come on, man. Ford Field, I mean, yes, everybody has to watch Ford Field on Thanksgiving. You have to do it.
I add that U.S. Bank Stadium, Minnesota Stadium should also.
Yes. Sophie Stadium out there, it's not there yet out there with L.A. FedEx Field, I know they finna get a different. FedEx Field is iconic. Like it is. FedEx Field, it looks like It looks like a college. It is huge. FedEx Field is huge. I don't know why it's so big. I don't know how the new stadium is gonna be, but
they're gonna be back in DC.
It used to be iconic, even though the team wasn't good. But listen, the Coliseum, what the then Oakland Raiders played, because because the Oakland A's played there. You got the freaking half baseball diamond. It used to be so weird out there when I was in Oakland. Now they're in Vegas. It's not iconic. I want to know which one of these new stadiums are gonna become iconic, but. Yeah, it starts and ends. I mean, with Soldier Field and Lambeau, I got to give love to Arrowhead, AT&T. I agree with you with Pittsburgh. A Chrysler Stadium. I mean, it's Pittsburgh, but it ain't. I would Mile High, Denver. Yeah, can't breathe. Make sure you got your. It's hard to breathe out there, but for me though, I like Soldier Field. I like Lambeau Field. I like the Link. And the reason why I keep saying the Link is good teams make stadiums iconic. Chicago's old teams made Soldier Field iconic, not now. So if you take now's players back then, Soldier Field, and are they talking about them potentially getting the dome too, Chicago?
All these teams are doing whatever they can to get potential revenue from being able to have a Super Bowl there. I'm thinking you're going to see a lot more teams either dome it or have retractable roofs.
And it's not, I guess you could call it iconic because of the combine. Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis, I guess, because a lot that's what the combine is. But I mean, the AFC South, Titans, nope. Houston, nope. Jacksonville, nope. Tampa, nope. Miami, no.
Tampa's cool. It's not iconic. It's cool.
Bryce James. Whatever. It's cool, but I just think we'll make a. If you could say the Link and people go, oh Philly, oh Arrowhead, oh yeah Kansas City. You say Bryson James, where that's at? That's in Tampa. It's like so they even Tom Brady can't help the Bucks. He
All right, Meg, your top 10.
Yeah, so I had Lambeau and Soldier at 1 and 2, not surprisingly, really. But again, I'm going to preface this. I've never been to any of the stadiums, in my life. Never been to America since I was about 4 years old. So this is just based on watching the game. So yeah, I had Lambeau and Soldier Field. Reluctantly, AT&T and Arrowhead. I got the Link, I've got Mercedes-Benz, Caesars, Allegiant as well, to be fair.
Yes, like I said, they don't give a Seattle Stadium enough love.
Yeah,
I like it. And what was my last one? I don't mind Gillette. I don't mind it. It's not, honorable mention maybe more than top 10.
Fair enough. Now, want to move on to this next one. Me and Ben have already kind of touched on it when the initial news broke. I put it into the topic list because I just think it's a prevalent news thing that me and Ben talk about this all the time. Athletes need to make sure you take care of yourselves when you're dealing with people who are going to be involved in your life. Anthony Edwards made a stupid choice to bet up with a woman who basically had no real interest in being involved with him. She was as Mr. Kanye West says. I ain't saying she a gold digger.
I ain't saying it. That's not what I'm saying.
But in this case, the shoe absolutely fits. For people that don't know, Anthony Edwards laid up with this woman. Basically, she let him know that she was pregnant. He paid for her to have the abortion. She chose to keep the money, forgo the abortion, and started the process to take him to court. When that process had started, Anthony was like, you know what? I do not want to deal with this person in any way, shape, or form. How much is it to pay for all 18 years right now? The courts agreed upon the amount. He paid the amount. Now she's going back. She's going back saying it's not enough. First and foremost, she's already spent $100,000 of that money. Who gave her access to that money already? I need to know because this is a problem. 2, she now wants $500K and an apology plus $55K annually to sign off on being that child's mother. What? This woman is outside of her skull. Listen, I think at this point in time, if I'm Anthony Edwards, I'm taking her to court.
Mm-hmm.
That she is not fit to be anybody's mother.
Nope.
Yep.
If you're sitting there saying you need more than what he paid over $1 million, paid for all 18 years up front. You didn't have to do anything. Just take care of yourself. I think what it annualed out to was about $55,000 a year. Anything more than that is just you being a crappy human being, a crappy person, and the red flag should have been set up when you see that she's 39 years old. You know exactly what this woman's trying to do now. I'm going to start off with Meg being the woman on today's panel. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think that Anthony should either A, just let the lawyer deal with this, or B, like I said, contest her being that child's anything at this point in time?
Yeah, I think the latter, to be honest. I think so often we see women using their position, and often, you know, I see some of my closest friends are fathers who don't get to see their children because of the actions of women trying to stop them, etc. I have a real problem with women who weaponize children, full stop. I think, and by weaponize in this case, weaponize in order for financial gain, you are basically extorting a human being. Like, oh, if you don't pay me, you've got to father this child, you've got to be a father of this kid. Right, well, okay then. Is what I would be saying. Cool. Yeah, no worries. I'll take full custody. If it's such a problem that you need, you know, $1 million plus 55k a year, plus the 500,000, plus the apology, not a problem. I'll take the kid. I'll look after him. Her. Yeah, I don't care. It's, for me, it's just revolting that a human being can use a child in that way. That child is going to grow up and not necessarily, you know, she's going to have a great time of it in terms of possessions and finances and all that, but emotionally and mentally and in terms of well-being, realistically, you turn, you know, to the age of social media when you're about 10 years old, which it is nowadays, and you know, you look up your parents and this is what you see. That's not good for anyone. That's years of therapy. You might as well add an extra, you know, 20k a year to add some decent therapy on for that kid, because it's so unfair what this woman is doing. You know, yeah, he made a choice. He, you know, he got into bed with a woman, he made a child, whatever. But I'm pretty sure that most people, when you know, they're in a relationship or, you know, having relations with someone, that's not what they're thinking. That, oh, there's a child going to be born, and then I'm going to have to pay $1 million, then I'm going to have to pay this, and then I'm going to, like, it's a risk that you take. You get in a bed with someone, you have a kid. That can happen. That's science has been since the dawn of time.
Yep.
This woman has just used that to her absolute advantage, and I think it's absolutely revolting. It makes me so angry.
Ben, I know this was already something that irritated you from the get-go when we first started talking about it. Now this is coming back around again. There's nothing good that's going to come out of this situation.
It's not, because I think what we fail to realize is, as long as social media is going to be around, you know, forever now, and the young and the baby involved is going to get older one day, and she's going to be hearing about, you know, this is what my mom did, and they trying to paint my dad to be like this, and it's going to be like, well, Mom, I thought you said it wasn't about the money. Well, it's not. What is it about? I mean, he gave you $100,000 per year, you know, in anticipation, you know, 18 years of it. You come back and say you want $500,000 in an apology, $55,000 a year for the rest of your life. For what? Let me say this. When you live in different places in America, you know, living in Georgia ain't the same as living in New York. Living in New York ain't the same as living in California. There ain't a baby on the planet need $100K a year. I don't care. What starts happening is, this is about lifestyle. I want a lifestyle. I want to live a certain way. I want to be known for who I have a child with. Okay, well, here's the thing. Anthony Edwards obviously wants his child. This is what you are willing to give. These are your demands to have, for him to have full custody of his child. I've already spent $100K. But you're doing it when you start looking at the quality of life of your child. Is it about the quality of life of your child, the quality of life of yourself? These situations are always going to be tricky because Anthony Edwards is 23 years old. The child's mother is 39 years old, right? If this were the other way around, people would be going crazy. If Anthony Edwards was 39 and this young lady was 23, what the? People would lose it. I think Anthony Edwards is a cautionary tale of he's not just anybody walking. Yes, he's how they say he's normal. He ain't ordinary. No, nothing about him, not his life, not who he is, not what he does. But Anthony Edwards shows that just because you are a celebrity, and this, this ain't becoming relationship advice. Men are visual. We like what we see, right? So she is a looker. But just because you are a beautiful woman don't mean you ain't a predator. Just because and when I say predator, I don't mean the sense of the word of what we know as child predators. I'm talking about a woman who saw a young man and saw opportunity and took it. Because she understands what he likes. She got the aesthetic. Yeah. But she got more than that. So Anthony, let it be a cautionary tale of the fact that when people say, man, everybody ain't about your money. Yeah, but you picked the one person that was. You pick somebody that is. And that makes you have issues moving on in life, not just relationships, but just with people. Anthony Edwards is an incredible player. He has a chance to be a face of the NBA with how he plays and how he is. But Anthony Edwards is also telling her, why you think the court of public opinion is going to help you in this situation, young lady? It's not. Because every time you tweet out something or say something, $55,000, get a job. You want $55K? There's a bunch of jobs pay $55K a year. Oh, I know. You don't want to do anything. But sit back and wait on the first of the month. Okay. Well, if you're trying to give up custody for your little girl, people don't pay to give up custody for their child. They go to court, and the judge decides who is the best fit. Well, judging by what you done, I'm just saying, I paid for daycare, didn't want to do it, had to do it. Did it a bunch of times, right? $100,000. You got to go to college to make that type of money or have work experience. Man, get out.
That's what it is. Like, I don't know how she's already spent $100K of the over $1 million that he paid into it. And you math it out of what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about $55,000 a year. Now she wants $500K plus another 55, and Ben already says she wants to live a certain way. That's what it is. This is not about what the child's needs are. I could understand if the child's been born and there's some medical issues and she needs money right now. That would be completely understandable in this situation, and people would be behind her for that. This ain't that, and it's we talk about it all the time. What was just going on with Travis Hunter? He had already married. The girl he's be with, and she's kind of along them lines of she likes to live in a certain way and things like that. People get upset. Look at John Cena. He makes people sign contracts just to move into his house to make sure that he's legally and taken care of, so someone can't manipulate him in that way. People think he's a strange person for doing that. No, he's smart, and he's making sure that if we're going to be both agreeing to this type of situation, there's rules and there's boundaries. Yes. And and everyone talks about John not having any kids. This is why it's stuff like this is why he doesn't have a wife, why he doesn't have kids, because you don't know when people's hearts and wants and needs change, and you can't change with that. He doesn't want to be at that point of no return where he can't protect himself. So I think, you look at this stuff in high profile athletes, actors, etc. You have to protect yourself first. And this, as Ben said, cautionary tale. And I think a lot of the players from all the sports should take a look at this and change how they go about what they like, who they lay up with, who do you date, etc. Because you never know where another woman like this could just be laying in the weeds,
she's making it bad too. She's making it bad on another one.
On its prey. So
yeah, she's making it bad on the one that really genuinely would like Anthony Edwards. And let me say this: we're not judging every woman off of one, just like we don't judge every man off of one. But Anthony Edwards needs to know, look, man, as much as you think you blend in, you don't. You don't. People know who you are, not from trying to stalk you or harass you. You Anthony Edwards. Like we don't know Steph Curry if he's walking down the street. You Steph Curry. Like certain people you're gonna know. When you play basketball, you don't wear nothing in front of your face. Football players, you might go, is that him? Because he wears a face mask, right? That's Anthony Edwards. That's LeBron. That's Kevin Durant. That's that. Because you've seen them so much. Now, everybody on the team you don't know because everybody don't play. Anthony Edwards, wasn't you in the Olympics? Yeah. Wasn't you just in the playoffs? Uh-huh. Ain't you with Adidas? Yeah. Like, you got your own shoe deal. You're on billboards. You're on commercials. You on a commercial where you ain't even talking. The guy next to you say something and you smile. And they paid you for that. That's how big. So I will say for Anthony Edwards, though, I don't know who he is as an individual, but I guarantee you he don't want this type of publicity on him because perception is reality when you're famous. What we think about you, whether we know you or not, listen, you know how many people in the soap operas back in the day, they see people in public and people can't remember. No, I'm just playing this character on the people want to fight him. How you gonna cheat on her? Dude, that's a character. That's a character. But when you play your character that well, like a lot of people don't like Draymond. You don't even know Draymond. That's just how he plays basketball. He's married with children. I saw Draymond at Disneyland, and I went up to him. Don't walk up on him now. Don't do that because he's 6'8". So I just think that for Anthony Edwards is his public perception is being damaged because there's always going to be people that think that she deserves more. But it's both of their child. He gave you $1.8 million. That ain't enough. I mean, I'm just saying, listen, Anthony, keep living your life, keep doing what you're doing. Take it easy on my Hawks when you play them. That's all, you know.
Now I want to move on to this next one. We're talking about enough, and we're gonna have to go down this road again. Colin Cowherd was taking shots at Jalen this week, but to the surprise of many, because other guys are making their podcasts and their media runs, was one Peyton Manning, which Ben mentioned earlier, was talking about Jalen, talking about the conversations they have, and I wanted to kind of run down what he said, and basically saying Jalen's played well in both the Super Bowls that he played in, but he likes the way that Jalen goes about it. He calls him a lot of time with questions, and actually the Eagles actually run a lot of the offense the Colts does, which doesn't surprise me since that's where that's where Nick Sirianni came from, was in Indianapolis, and that he calls him with very specific question, certain plays that he's a student of the game. He's another example. He's talking about how he squat, run, throw, do all these special things. But he appreciates the cerebral part of his game that impresses him, how he's taken to the game to the next level. The sky's the limit for him. And Chris Collinsworth asked, have you ever seen a more intense, serious human being than Jalen Hurts? Now also remember, this is the guy that went up against Tom Brady all those years. Manning just simply said no. So that being said, we've done everything this offseason to tear this dude down. We listened to Cam Newton tell us that he can't rank him in the top 10 because who's around him. We've listened to Chris Sims and and Chase Daniel and everyone else gives you reasons why he's not this, why he's not that. There's two people that has been throwing love his way the entire time, and that's Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Two of arguably the best quarterbacks that we've had in this league over the last 25 years, maybe even ever. I'm going to start with Meg first because me and Ben has beaten on this drum so hardly. I want to get your thoughts on this. One, Peyton Manning's outlook on Jalen, and do you feel at this point in time that people are just saying stuff about Jalen for the clicks because the what you're saying to him compared to how everyone else speaks of him, not only on his team but other quarterbacks, isn't matching up anymore?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's nice to hear Eli's comments. I think it's good to hear the fact that we have players building up other players, because I'm all about that as long as it's legit and it's not just blowing smoke. I think give credit where credit's due. It's so easy in this world to criticize people. It's so easy to say, yeah, well, this person's better than that person. That person doesn't deserve this accreditation and they don't deserve the recognition. A lot of it, stripped right back, comes down to jealousy, first of all. And secondly, I said this earlier on, I'm a fan of football. That means that whatever team is in front of me, obviously I'm backing my Falcons all the way, all the time. But whatever team is in front of me, if I'm watching a game of football and I'm enjoying the way that the game is being played, and I can appreciate the moves, the mindset, the mentality, as well as the physical game, then I can appreciate that as a player. And Jalen Hurts is up there for me. I love watching him play. And I think, you see the serenity around him. He never looks like he's flustered. He never looks like frustrated in terms of he doesn't know what to do. He just seems to have it down. And for me, the quality of his play is phenomenal. It's not ever just going to be about a quarterback on a team, but it's a damn big part of it. If you've got a quarterback that knows what he's doing and can lead a team, look at what Saquon Barkley did at the Giants. Not very damn much. Look at him playing with Jalen Hurts. It's like watching chalk and cheese. Because you've got a decent leader. You've got someone who can bring the team together. You've got someone who can make everybody feel that calmness and say, actually, it's fine. I got this, guys. Just, let's run the ball how we're going to run the ball. Let's play the plays that we've planned. And they trust him. And it shows. And he uses that to show off the best of the players that are on that field with him. Not saying that those players don't deserve every credit as well. But what I'm saying is that if they didn't have that leadership in Jalen Hurts, we have evidence, first-hand evidence, that they weren't doing as well in other places, some of them. And I think that has to be, recognized.
Go ahead, Ben. Your thoughts on Peyton's comments? We already know me and you have probably been the Jalen's biggest defenders this offseason because it's ridiculous of the nonsense that's been coming out. But Peyton's comments and Cowherd basically calling him a member of the Spice Girls is kind of funny.
What I appreciate about Peyton is Peyton understands how big his voice is. Peyton understands, and when I say something about a quarterback, everybody's going to stand up and listen, and it's going to make you question people that's never played the position and people that just want to be critical. Sometimes you just want to be critical. I know if I say something about Jalen, it's going to get clicks, right? You see how Colin was like, have you ever met a person so serious? He loves football. Jalen's, I love football, man. I don't have a lot of hobbies. I'm married, right? So when I go home, I'm home. And Peyton was like, I know good football players when I see them because I know guys, that computer was going on, above the neck is that computer going on in Jalen's head. He's, like Meg said, he never seems flustered. Up by 20, down by 20, same guy. Good situation, bad situation, got the poker face, got the $1 million smile, but he's very, very definitive and direct with what he says. Hey, man, why you ain't going to the White House, man? Listen, I had a previous situation with the guys that went said they had a good time. Don't ask me about this no more. Do not ask me about this anymore because I'm not trying to. Listen, young lady come to camp, wanting to do TikTok dances. I play football. I don't do dances. Nothing against you. It's like Jalen is a certain way, and only those close to him really get to know him. That's football, man. I'm the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm giving you all I got. What I got left is mine, and I'm keeping it. He said, I called Peyton Manning. Why? Because we share the same Super Bowl pedigree. Peyton Manning's not picking up for anybody now. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not picking up just because you play quarterback. Hey, I got some questions, Peyton, and I'm gonna keep it short and I'm gonna keep it direct. I ain't gonna keep you on the phone long. I don't want to know what you're doing. I'm not trying to partner with Omaha Studios. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what I'm looking at, and I'm gone. And I appreciate that Peyton is telling Colin, dude, you just talking, Colin. The stuff you say about Jalen is because he wasn't your media darling. It's easy to talk about Josh Allen, easy to talk about Lamar, easy to talk about Joe, easy to talk about Patrick. But you know who's breaking up that party? Jalen. Because when Jalen walk in the room, they go, oh, hey, man, what you doing here? Oh, I was invited. I ain't sneak up on y'all. And I think that's what Jalen is. He's a disruptor. He goes, look, they didn't want me in Alabama, so I went to Oklahoma and ended up being a Heisman Trophy runner-up. Then I get drafted in the second round. I'm the reason why, I'm the reason why we win the Super Bowls. I'm the reason why we going to Super Bowls. And I just think for Colin, Colin tried to dominate conversations when the player over there isn't high caliber. He can't do that with Peyton. He got to shut up and listen with what he's saying about. That's the part I like. I like the fact that Peyton Manning is very, very professional and very, very structured with what he says. But roundabout way he's telling Colin, you sound idiotic. You sound crazy what you're saying, but he's going to say it in a nice way. And basically Peyton is saying, if you think Jalen is good now, dude, he's only got to get better.
On the first press conference, you hear what he said? They were asking him about the Super Bowl rings, and he was basically nothing I've accomplished in the past is gonna help me for what I desire in the future. The dude is a walking quote.
Yep. Quotables all.
He never gets too high on himself. He never gets too low on himself. He is what you want in a quarterback. And nobody knew this is how you should act as a quarterback because you ain't seen anybody do this. Tom Brady was always the fiery, passionate guy. You never seen both sides of it like the way you're seeing it from Jalen. So, I mean, listen, there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff going around. Did you see last week, Gilly was responding to
the Cam
Newton? They were both going back and forth. Then all of a sudden, you had Johnny Manziel jump in the chat room for whatever reason, basically telling him he was going to smack Gilly around. And then Gilly's response was pretty funny. I got to give it to Gilly.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When there is a 0% likelihood of me seeing you in person, you know the kind of stuff I'm gonna say. If I see you in person, I live in Philly. Like Gilly lives in Philly. And number one, Gilly's going to be at any event that the Philadelphia Eagles is doing. Johnny Manziel, listen. The likelihood of you smacking Gilly in the face is not going to happen. And what do people get if I catch you in person? You love Cam Newton that much to smack somebody for him?
Yeah, I was about to say, what did Cam do for Johnny that I don't know about?
I mean, Cam ain't even say he was going to smack Gilly because it's just healthy banter going back and forth, right? Right? I mean, no matter what, Cam is making Gilly just as much famous as Gilly is doing because they're going. But then here comes Johnny because he got a podcast now, so he need clicks. I get it. But smacking people, let me tell you something, man. When Gilly say, "Hey, man, when the fun and games start, you gonna smack me?" All right, do it then. All right, Johnny. Because if he see him in person, he's not gonna do it. I don't think it got to go to fisticuffs and things of that nature. But hold on, Steven. I know this is off script, but I gotta ask Meg because we got a Meg is from the UK. This is what I just want to know. We talking about goats. Meg, your goat. UK actors dominate in America. They dominate. A lot of times we don't know they're from the UK. Who is your? I'm Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean. This is Sean Connery, the GOAT. May he rest in peace. Ian McKellen, Michael Caine. That's Alfred. Tom Hardy, Anthony Hopkins, Idris Elba, Damon Idris, Christian Bale, Benedict. What's his name? I want to say that. Cumberbatch. I'm sorry. Who is Meg? Who is one of your favorite, if not your favorite, actor from the UK? Because a lot of times, you know how many people didn't know that Idris Elba was from the UK because he had to play American actors, and then he starts talking like, "Where you from?" "Oh, I'm from the UK." "What?" So you thought you had a shot, but now with the accent, you better keep your lady away from him. Just keep her away from him.
I love Ian McKellen and I love Michael Caine a lot. I love Idris Elba. I used to teach media studies and I taught Luther, which is obviously his like crime TV series that he did over here. So I used to teach that to some like high school kids. Yeah, I think Michael Caine has to be one of my all-time greats. I love him and everything that he does.
Here's a funny one. My first Michael Caine movie that I ever seen him was The Revenge of Jaws. Him in that movie
he was in the Revenge. He was in the Revenge of Jaws. He had like a little. You know what's crazy though? Michael Caine is so good at what he does. I guarantee you, when people see him, they're like, Alfred. No, my name is not Alfred. But he's one of those guys to where he don't. You know how people need a bunch of lines in a movie? Like, no, man, just give me a couple. One of my favorites is always, obviously Sean Connery, Anthony Hopkins. You want something dark? You want something dark? Yes. Anthony Hopkins.
His eyes. He looks at me, and I straight away go Hannibal. Like, don't eat me, please. Like, I'm good, thanks.
and obviously Christian Bale. It's not gonna get more iconic than The Dark Knight. It just won't. I mean, but a guy that's really good in any movie. Tom Hardy can play anything you put him in. Anything you put him in, obviously, But yeah, I just.
Do you guys get Tom Hardy's bedtime stories over there?
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
So we've got, and it's not children that are listening to these stories. Let's be honest. Like,
absolutely.
It's middle-aged women who are sitting at home, listen to it. So he does this, like, it's on a kids' TV channel over here, but basically, like, he just read bedtime stories, and it wasn't anything like weird, or it was kids' stories, and all these women are just like flocking to the kids' channels to like just listen to him, put them to sleep at night, reading a story.
Hold on. So some gentleman comes in and like, where y'all at? Like, we in here. Oh, she's getting ready for bed. Like, who you looking at? Is that Tom Hardy? Yeah, he reads bedtime stories. But why are you looking at it? Well, she wants me to watch it with her. Why are you dressed like that? He can't even see you. I'm just getting ready for. No, I think to athletes that want to be actors and actresses, I always tell them there's a craft to doing that, and just because you're handsome or you're outgoing, you got to hit these lines because next thing you know, there go Denzel over there, and now you got to hit the line. So I just know that when it comes to acting, I'm always a big fan of a lot of these. Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, good Lord. I mean, how talented can one person be in one body? But no, I'm just always curious. I mean, me and the wifey got to take a trip over there to the UK. I think y'all accent got to be number one, number two on the. I mean, you gotta listen. You got a Britain accent. You could get anything. Like, what you mean you ain't got no more seats? I'm like, Damon, come here for a second.
Another one I think people don't really give credit to is Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And here's another one people don't even recognize it probably from. Isn't it from his first movie I remember him was The Count of Monte Cristo.
We finna turn this thing into
Hey, listen, we got Meg on. We can talk some UK stuff. We always change things up and talk about different things when we're on here. We talk about life. We talk about movies, entertainment. Obviously, sports is what's driven behind us. But we can talk anything on here. That's why I love what we do on here. Want to get one more sports topic in. I want to go off script. We obviously it seems like we all have a disdain for the Cowboys, right? Obviously, they're making the rounds this week. As at the end of the week, their America's team is going to be hitting Netflix. Now, obviously, there was a story that hasn't been told, and one of the former players was wondering if it was going to be told, and I had to pull it up. So basically, at one of the Super Bowl, that somebody had went into the locker room of the backup quarterback and stole 30 of his Super Bowl tickets that he had paid for to kind of go around to the teams, and that Jimmy Johnson basically put his foot down, was like, listen, guys, if the tickets ain't under my door by this time, somebody's getting cut today. That he was not having that. Ben, I gotta ask you this: if you were in a Super Bowl and one of your teammates went into your locker room, took your tickets, were you just gonna let coach deal with that, or is that something that you gonna handle yourself, man? I'm gonna
handle myself because I'm gonna raise hell in that locker room. Number one, do you know how much 30 Super Bowl tickets cost? Like number two, you gonna steal from me? Like, now if I got 30 tickets and I'm missing one, okay. If I'm missing two, all my tickets gone. That's one of those things, right? You know how you walk in and your stuff gone and you look around and go, really? That's what we doing? You're going to look around. I'm going to raise it. That's one of those things, man. The Super Bowl is so prestigious. Those are 30 of your closest family and friends who you got them for to make sure they got some of the best seats in the house. And somebody took them. Man, let me tell you something.
All I'm going to say to this is we already knew they were dysfunctional.
This
is the top of the dysfunction. Poor Chad Henne had his tickets stolen by his teammates, And Jimmy Johnson was basically saying he was going to cut somebody.
Let me help you understand
obviously,
something, Steven. That's not a teammate.
On it before we get close to closing this one up. But what are your thoughts on this? Does this just emphasize that the Dallas Cowboys are an absolute dysfunctional bombshell?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I noticed about, because I watched the cheerleaders series last season and this season, watched it all the way through, and last season and this season, the tone and how they presented themselves was so different and so orchestrated and calculated, and it was crystal clear to anyone with half a brain cell. So last season, there was all of the controversy around the security guard that groped one of the cheerleaders during a game between dances. There was a lot of talk about how the girls were struggling to pay their bills and keep a full-time job, maintain the standards that they were expected to keep, blah, 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 blah. The Kelly and I can't remember the other one, the coaches, if you like, of the cheerleaders being really hard-faced and really hypercritical about their bodies and the shape of them, etc., etc. This new season that came out was like a PR dream for them, because all of a sudden Kelly's doing, confessionals where she's reading her Bible and she's, giving out motivational sermons, and she's, crying over the girls that are getting cut, that she's cutting. Like, she's making the decision. Your hair doesn't quite hold a Dallas curl nice enough. You cut. Goodbye. Oh my God, I'm going to cry about it, because I knew her mum way back. And then the girls going up and saying, well, we're going to not attend training until you pay us. Improve our wages.
Yeah, me and Ben talked about that last season, about the pay of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and the insane, standards they would be held to, while also not paying them was disgusting.
And I think you have to look at organizations as a whole when that happens, because if you can steal off a teammate, to me that's like the lowest of the low. Like, if that's basically a brother. That's like you're in that team, and if you're stealing off of them, you're stealing off a family, as far as I'm concerned. How do I then trust you to throw the ball to you? How do I then trust you to protect me on the field? Yep. I can't. End of. Full stop. You need to be cut from the team, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, glad that situation got settled by Jimmy Johnson, the lone adult in that locker room. But as we're down here to the last few minutes, Meg, I want to kind of throw it over to you. Shoot out your social media sites, let everyone know where to follow you, where to keep up with where your content's coming out of, and let the fans know where to be following your podcast, your top list, things of that nature.
Yeah, so at Ballers Meg, Ballers_Meg on all socials, X, Instagram, TikTok.
Oh, you get the main stage there. We're still here.
Oh my God! I was like, oh, what's happened? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, all that. Ballers_Meg, and then my website's ballersmeg.com, and podcast weekly on Hurdle the Line at the Asleep at Work Network as well.
Guys, make sure if you're an Atlanta sports content consumer, you're checking Meg out. Ben, last words here.
Man, Meg, enjoyed having you on, Steve. You already know, as always, the best being on with you, the fan in the end, is where we talk all things sports. Might even get into relationship stuff if people ask for $55,000 a year annually for life. What the hell? Anyway, man, just do yourself the best favor you ever gonna do in your life. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And keep listening, because on the fan in the end, you either a fan, you'll never be the end. But this is the end of the fan in the end. Just make sure y'all keep listening.
Yeah, make sure you guys are tuning in as we're getting closer to our giveaway. Again, signed books from Ben. We got some signed cards that we're giving away. We got some other stuff we're doing. We're getting really close to 1 million listens on the YouTube channel, and about halfway to 2K subscribers. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you don't miss any of the programming shenanigans that we get on going over here at the South Florida Tribune Media Network. Meg, it was always a pleasure. If anytime you want to have me or Ben on to kind of give some insight into stuff that you're talking about, the lines are always open. We were always happy to cross promote with our fellow content creators. But that being said, that's episode 35 in the books. I'm Steve. He's Ben. This was another episode of The Fane in the End. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.